the first time I felt like I really connected with Sophie. We always connected over food. Like every time
True.
we saw one another, we would connect over food or coffee. And the biggest thing we connected over was and this is what brought Hale Fellows and ZCEI Fellows together is we planned the Urbana Cafe trip.
Yeah.
Where we went downtown to the Atlas building and we got everyone together. It's one of the photos I always look back on a lot. And it was just so much fun.
Yeah.
Welcome to Economics with Dr. A. We have another fantastic episode. If you are new here, I am your host, Dr. Abdul Abrani, Associate Professor of Economics at the Hale College of Business at Northern Kentucky University. And on this channel, we talk about ways to improve your life through economics and the power of professional development. And today we are expanding our conversation once again. If you listen to last week's episode, you heard our conversation with Erin and Mrs. A from Thomas More University. Today we're talking to one of her other fellows. And I am so excited for this conversation because Sofia Hermosia has followed what I recall my path from undergraduate to graduate school. So today we're going to be talking to her about the decisions to pursue a graduate education, what she learned as a fellow at the Zembro Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation. Did I get it right this time,
Yes,
Mrs.
you
A?
did.
All right. Welcome back to the show, Mrs. A, and welcome to the show, Sophia.
Thank you for having me today. I'm very excited and nervous to have this talk today.
Nervous? Why are you nervous?
Well, it's not in my comfort zone to be in front of a mic or in front of a camera. And this is something I've learned with Mrs. A to feel good in my own skin and being open about getting out in the microphone and speaking to people about my experience in life.
Well, you are a natural. You're doing a fantastic job, and
Thank
you've
you.
got Mrs. A next to you, which you
Yes.
know means you can do
Mhm.
anything in this world. Right,
Yes.
Mrs. A?
That is correct, 100%.
Hey, on last week's episode, you cried maybe 8 times. Do you think you're going to cry now?
I'm crying right now.
The power of mentorship and when your mentor cares so much. So, Sophia, how did you become a fellow in Mrs. A's
Yeah.
program?
It is interesting because I was remembering how we met that spring semester that you arrived. We met a few weeks before the women's conference. I think it was with Leanne Morgan.
Yeah.
She presented us. And instantly I was curious, like, I want to work with her and see what she got around. And we had ideas about Urbana Cafe and working with the International Inclusion Association, which I'm president of. And we clicked right away with Mrs. A, Leanne, and me.
Mhm.
And then after the women's conference where she spoke that time, we started talking more and more. And she mentioned, "Oh yeah, we're gonna create the fellows. You should probably apply." She sent me an email, and I was in Panama. I remember that day brightly when the deadline was coming up because I was talking with my mom, and Mrs. A sent me a reminder like, "Hey, deadline is coming up. When are you gonna apply?" And I was talking with my mom, and I was like, "Mom, I need to tell you about this amazing woman I've met in school called Mrs. A." And my mom was like, "Oh, I'm interested. Impressed." And she's like, "Go for it." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm just not in business.
Mhm.
And this is an entrepreneurship and innovation program. I'm a double major in international studies and political science." And I was like, "I don't see the connection."
Mhm.
But I was like, "Let's do it. I
Yeah.
trust Mrs. A. Everything is going to go well." So I just went for it. I remember my cover letter. I think that was the most honest cover letter I've ever made. And it was the first one I did. But I just laid out my heart in it.
Mhm.
And I was like, I hope she sees me as I am.
Mhm.
And I think she did. And it was just great.
I did not know this story.
No.
And now I get to meet your mom.
Yes, in a few days.
So your mom is coming from Panama?
Panama with my sister.
Okay. And you get to show your mom Thomas More and
Mhm.
Mrs. A.
Yes.
Okay.
She'll be at Evening of Innovation tomorrow.
Yes. So you
Okay.
get to meet her.
I will get to meet her as well. She'll be at graduation.
Hmm.
Is she looking to sit with somebody? Because I'm looking for friends to sit with.
You
on
can sit
graduate.
with her.
Okay, perfect. All right. I have friends at Thomas More University's graduation. So congrats on graduating.
Thank you.
And I want to peel the layers of who Sophia is.
Okay.
So you moved to Thomas More from Panama.
Correct.
Okay, and when did you move here?
Spring 2021. So I started online in fall
Mm-hmm.
2020, but because of COVID.
Yeah.
So I did my first semester online, and it
Mhm.
was an adventure.
Yeah.
I was taking, my advisor was curious about how to work with me, and he put me in a third year course,
Oh, nice.
American politics. I've never taken an American politics class, but it was amazing. I liked it. So I was starting to like adapt to the area, and in spring I met all the internationals. We were 10 Panamanians at the time, and I was so happy.
Yeah.
They all graduated. Now I'm the last one. Well,
Mhm.
second to last. Ian's still.
Ian.
And then I met Leanne Morgan. She's the supervisor for internationals, and we connected,
Mm-hmm.
and we started like developing all this stuff to work with the school and the international students. So yeah.
Yeah. And what made you pick your major?
When I was in high school, I was into public speaking.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of speeches, talking to different schools about education. And then my junior year, I applied. I worked and like campaign as a senator
Mm-hmm.
for Panama. It was youth deputies, so you had to campaign as a senator, and you went to schools in your own district, campaigning and saying what were your proposals, plan of actions, and stuff like that. And I was like, why not? Let's go try it out.
Yeah.
I fell in love with law, with drafting laws for Panama. Right now, I have one bill that is under my composition with other young leaders in Panama about ecotourism. So I was interested in drafting laws, but I didn't want to do law.
Yeah.
So I learned about international studies. In Panama, we call it international relations.
Mm-hmm.
And I fell in love with diplomacy.
Hmm.
So I always have liked that, connecting with other cultures, growing between cultures, and
Yeah.
creating new ones, and expanding your knowledge about human rights, human development, and stuff like that. So that's why I chose international relations. And then my professor wanted me to have political science.
Yep.
And I talked with him, and I was like, okay, as long as I can graduate with both, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. So if anybody's listening to this conversation, I think what comes across really clearly is, and this is something I noticed the first day I met Sophia, is she knows what she wants, and she will tell you
Mhm.
clearly what she
Thank
wants.
you.
Yes.
And she will not let you talk her out of it. The first day I met you, I don't know if you remember this, but you said, yeah, after here, I'm going to grad school. Like, you didn't even, no thought, no questions. That's the plan. How, when, where, who, nobody needs to
Yeah.
know. But
Yeah.
that's what Sophia said was going to happen. Mrs. A, you've had the opportunity of mentoring Sophia. What are your thoughts about working with her?
So I'm going to echo what you said. Sophia is so driven. She has that intrinsic motivation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just motivation just to go to grad school or to do something. It is motivation to change the world.
Yeah.
And that tenacity to know that she can play a part in that.
Yeah.
And I love that. And it makes sense why you love and why you picked your major. And something else about that is I could ask Sophie, hey, what do you think about this? Could you do this? here's a task or here's a project. And if it's something that she still has questions about,
Yeah.
or she may not understand yet, she does not hesitate to ask questions. Or if I think in my mind, this is it, this is going to be the best thing ever, this is how we're going to do it, this is what's going to happen, and it is not her cup of tea,
Yeah.
she will ask more questions to figure out how can I still add value
Mhm.
to what the fellowship, the program is doing. So it may not be something she solely only cares about, but if it's for the cause,
Yeah.
she will do it. But what I love is she will also ask so many questions to really dig deep to see how she can add value to it.
Mhm.
Instead of just saying, yeah, I'll do it for the good of the cause, and I'm just going to check off these tasks to make sure I'm part of it. No, she will always find a way to bring her value, and she knows her value. What I also love is she is curious to hear what you ask.
Mhm.
Mrs. A, what do you think? I have this going on. What do you think? She's not afraid to ask for help, even though she knows what
Yeah.
she wants and what she wants to go for. She's not afraid to ask for help. And I love that. I love that you have this integration of I am strong, I am confident, and I know my comparative advantage. And I also know how to bring people in to help me get to where I want to go to.
As
Thank
you were
you.
speaking, something that came to mind was Brene Brown leading with vulnerability. Like she
Yes.
knows when to bring in that vulnerable aspect of asking for help. And that's a skill and that's a talent that not a lot of people can do.
It is. And the other thing that I was thinking today, we went to Sleepy Bee
Okay.
for brunch today, the fellows and I did.
Sophia, was this your first time at, or have you
Yes.
been? Okay.
It was amazing.
So good.
So good.
Sleepy Bee, if you're looking to sponsor a podcast, Econ with Dr. A is looking for sponsors. But go ahead.
So as we're sitting there, we're just chit-chatting, and I thought, something I love about Sophia is if something is wrong, she will speak up.
Yeah.
If there is something that is not right, she will speak up. And it's not a, let me think about speaking up. It's, no, this is wrong.
Yeah.
And this is what we need to do to make it right.
Sophia, do you agree? Do you see yourself in that light?
I don't know. I've never thought about it. Thank you. I'm gonna cry.
100%. So her focus of study makes sense.
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
It
now.
makes it's in your spirit, it's in your core, it's in your
Thank you.
heart. And now you're finding the vehicle to do those things.
Thank you.
So, Sophia, you joined the fellows in August.
Yes.
What is your, because we asked Aaron this question, what is your most prideful moment of this past year?
Can I interrupt Sophia on this one too? Because I did it with Aaron.
Yeah. Mrs. A interruption. Go ahead, Mrs. A.
The first time I felt like I really connected with Sophie. We always connected over food. Like every time we saw one another, we would connect over food or coffee. And the biggest thing we connected over was, and this is what brought Hale Fellows and ZCEI Fellows together, is we planned the Urbana Cafe trip.
Yeah.
Where we went downtown to the Atlas building and we got everyone together. It's one of the photos I always look back on a lot. And it was just so much fun.
Yeah. And it was so spontaneous. It just happened. and it was amazing. After that, I knew I wanted to work with her. And that's the most prideful thing I have of the year, having Mrs. A as a mentor.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that you're like the reason of like us. Like I'm gonna speak about myself, but I'm pretty sure the rest of the fellows think the same. Um, that you're the reason I kept going. I like I had a passion, but meeting you just like reignited that passion, and I was like, I I just aim to be like you someday. Like, you're a role model, and I love that I come to you and I feel peace and be like, I have my safe place, and she's gonna walk with me. She's gonna grab my hand and all the way through, but she's gonna let me be myself. And she's so wise, so supportive, and literally that's you're the reason why I like kept going to grad school. You said you can do it, and I was like, I trust you. And I don't want to make you cry, but it's true. um, and yes, I like this senior year. My highlight is working with Mrs. A, going to her office, and talking about everything and anything.
Usually food and coffee.
Yes. Or in hard times, going with her and talking about the hard time, but she's always finding a positive side and always bringing light to our program and to ourselves. So yeah, she ignited that fire, that passion to keep going, to keep dreaming, and that is okay to have senioritis, but we have a purpose and a goal, and that's why I didn't like let the senioritis go. Lately, um, working with you this past couple weeks, I've been feeling, oh my god, I need to keep going. I keep like getting ready for grad school, and um I found like my dream again, why I'm doing this. And it's because of you, because you've been there. You keep like telling us um how good we are, how good of a career we have, and this has like connected to my personal life too, so it's not just academics and professional.
So, Sophia, would you say that the biggest, because you've mentioned this several times as you were speaking, is you truly just needed somebody to believe and be there,
Yeah.
and Mrs. A provided that space. What are some examples of ways in which she provided that safe space that you talk about?
For grad school applications, she was there. She sat with me when I was in a blocked on what to write in my statements. Another one is when I was so nervous to talk in English, because English is my second language. To the Tommy Alumni Awards, we had to speak, we had a speech and everything, but still I was like, I'm nervous. This is my second language. I'm not used to that. But she said, you're gonna be fine. And she was there. I saw her taking pictures and everything, but she was supportive, and I knew it was like, if she thinks I can do it, I can do it.
Go ahead.
Sophia, you're saying a lot of really amazing things, and I really thank you from the bottom of my heart. It really, truly means a lot to me. The thing is, you said a couple minutes ago, it just happened. And there's an element of that where that's true. Yeah. However, the work you put in to make that happen, that didn't just happen. You took initiative. You had to go to every single student to say, hey, this is what I'm doing. Do you want to go? Sí or no?
Sí. Sí.
And what I feel like I do, and what my air quote job is just to create these opportunities. And what I see from the mentor side is I already see that you have this in you. I already see that you have the heart and the grit to do it. My job is to just give you that vehicle, or show you the vehicle or the path, so you can go do that. And what I love about you is I can usually tell when you see the path like that. Like, okay, and then you're gone. sometimes if you may not see what I'm seeing, you're so good about asking more questions.
Mhm.
And from my perspective, that's how you let someone in.
Mhm.
Okay.
That is forming deeper connections. And then I could understand, oh, maybe I should word it this way. Oh, this is not as apparent to Sophie as it is to me. And then something does just happen like that. And you're
Yeah.
like, okay, got it.
That-
And something about Sophia that I love too is I can say, Sophia, I need you to do this, this, and this. And she says, okay. We set up a realistic timeline.
Yes.
And I don't hear or see from her about the project. And then it's done. And it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Thank you.
And you're so dependable in that nature. And I appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
So, for future fellows that are listening to this, Mrs. A and Sophia highlighted an important thing that I think new students overlook, and that's the power of asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of fellows, and Fawaz is here in this room, so I'm going to call out Fawaz because Fawaz and I are working on this, where I will throw out an idea or a statement, and Fawaz or most students, when they first start this program, feel the need to go into their own cave and figure it out and then come back with a polished final product. And what asking questions allows is it allows the presenter, me, when I present an idea to Fawaz, to recognize that my directions might not be clear or I might not be articulating the why clear enough. Go ahead, Mrs.
And I think the asking questions lets us in.
Yeah.
And we become part of that journey. And that's why when I sit here with you and I'm crying my eyes out, I can picture every step of everything you're saying when we were in it together.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what is so magical about
Yeah.
being in these roles is I felt like I was on that journey with you.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times we build in silence, and in content creation there's this whole idea of building in public. Let people see what you're building so they could be part of that community, and by asking questions you're allowing to build in public. I want to go to this conversation about grad school. We started off about the importance of it, and for many of us internationals, undergrad to grad school is the typical path.
Yeah.
And the reason being is one, we've already sacrificed so much to be here.
Yeah.
So if we're going to be here, might as well pursue the graduate degree. But two, to be able to compete in today's world, we need to be able to stand out even more.
Yes.
So those were my reasons to go to grad school, and obviously the love and passion for the topic. I'm an economist. I love and breathe economics. It's easy to know the passion for international relations through your conversation. Other than passion, what was your motivation to get a graduate degree?
Well, most of the jobs require a master's degree, but also to learn more about my field. Like, I have a pretty solid base right now, but I think I need more to have a solid foundation when when I go to the workforce. Um, it is not an easy task to apply to graduate school, especially when there are too many.
Yeah.
But I'm just still curious to keep learning, and I know I will always be learning throughout my life. But right now, I think I still need to learn a little bit more about my field in order to have like a complete
Yeah.
I don't know, resume, like CV, and be able to like excel in my field later on.
So I often tell my students that the best person to create or talk to is you 365 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
So Sophia 365 days ago, can you tell the Sophia of then, what the blueprint to getting accepted to graduate school is.
Be yourself.
Okay.
Be yourself. Be raw. Um, like print yourself in that paper, that personal statement. Be honest. I think the schools that I applied to and the ones that accepted me were the ones that I were more like personable and more like I want you to know me as I am.
Yeah.
And to not be scared. It's just another school. There's other professors and they have qualities as me, and I bring my own like essence to the table.
Yeah, that's something that a lot of students forget about is professors are humans after all. So how many schools did you apply to?
I applied to 6 and 1 job. It was a fellowship.
Okay. And you got accepted to how many programs?
2 schools.
And
I
then-
haven't heard about a third one, but now it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So congratulations on getting 2 out of 6 acceptances. That's a really good outcome.
Yeah.
Where did you decide to go?
George Washington University.
So Washington, D.C.
Thank you.
And if you're studying international relations, that's literally no better place to be than in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
So you start your program
in fall 2024, right?
Yeah.
Next August.
Fall 2024, Washington, D.C. Mrs. A, what are you doing November of 2024?
I will be going to DC for my favorite economics conference,
Which is?
the SEAs.
Yep.
And I will be handling alumni relations while visiting Sophia at grad school. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
I am so excited for you. I did my graduate education not in downtown Washington, D.C., but a little bit northwest of that at American University. I loved every moment that I was in D.C. The clashes of not just culture as in countries and languages, but also the clashes of professional jobs, right?
Yeah.
You've got so many different things happening at the same time. Temperature is beautiful in the summer. It's a bit humid. I don't like that. But other than that, it's great. Mrs. A, you got?
Other than that, yes. Vegan food. So much vegan food.
Yes. Good Ethiopian food. Have you ever had Ethiopian food?
No, actually no.
So
A lot of
Wow.
vegan options there.
Okay.
We will be going there as well to a restaurant. Ethiopia.
So what I'm hearing, Sophia, is you need to tell your professors that in November, Mrs. A is coming, and you need an excused absence for
That week.
for her visit.
Yes, and we may let you join as well for one meal.
Just one meal.
Just one.
Right. Well, it's going to be an exciting. Your program is 1 year or 2 years.
2 years.
2 years. So you're gonna spend 2 years in Washington D.C. at
It's
the minimum.
amazing.
At the minimum, yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, you still have to finish your undergraduate. We've got a week until graduation. But as you make this transition to grad school, what are your fears, excitement? What are you thinking?
I'm thinking a little bit about everything.
Yeah.
I'm excited that I turn in my thesis. I'm excited that I might be pursuing my research in my thesis further up. I'm thinking of making it my capstone in international development at GW. I'm so excited for it. I'm nervous for the new culture.
Yeah.
Excited at the same time, but I'm very nervous. I'm very nervous of the change of community because Thomas More is great and I love the small community, but GW is so much bigger and is spread out in the city. So, but I've been talking with professors and they're so excited. I'm excited to do my pro bono at the end of the master's program because we need to act like consultant to an NGO or like the State Department and find policies and programs that will better the organization and how it can help international development in the United States. It can be international too. It just depends on my capstone decision. Right now I'm focused on international migration. So
Important topic these days.
yes, and I'm just excited to learn. I'm very curious right now, so I'm all over the place. I just did like 3 modules that are like required to start before you start in GW, and then soon enough I'm gonna do like a economics assessment because I'm gonna take a lot of economic classes.
As you should.
As we should,
I
right?
told her about the YouTube channel.
Yes, so I'll be watching a lot of Dr. Say's podcasts and videos.
And if there's a topic that you want to discuss, I would love to have this conversation
Thank
about
you.
economics. Actually, one of my favorite shows and on Vox is Borders.
Okay.
And it's all about the international relationships that happen at borders, and it's by Johnny Harris. Produced it, or
Yeah.
and I highly recommend it. But to me, you need to know the economics to understand the international relationships.
Yep.
There was something that you said that I wanted to. Oh, you said that you're moving from a small community to a big community. There's this ideology out there that people are one of two types. One type that they like to be a big fish in a small pond, and the other type likes to be a small fish in a big pond. And my views on this are a bit different. I believe that every person needs to be one of those from time to time. So you've done the big fish in a small pond,
yes,
where you had a really close-knit community and people knew you as you walked down the hallways of Thomas More University. And now you're going to get the opportunity of walking through GW's campus, which is the streets of Washington, D.C., because there's no borders to GW, and being a person in Washington, D.C. There is no identifying factor. There, I mean, you could put on a GW shirt or sweater, but you're going to be just another person. And what I have found through my experience is eventually you learn how to make those big ponds feel small. And that's something that you're going to learn when you go to Washington, D.C. But with that said, the first 3 months are going to be a challenge.
I'm expecting it.
And it's going to be really important for you to lean in on your network of fellows, Mrs. A, Aaron, and the rest of the fellows that are not here today listening to this conversation, because they are going to be your community. So that visit that Mrs. A has already planned on our calendar, by the way,
I'm excited,
is going to be a great visit. I will allow you all to hang out without me, as long as you could get me a little to-go box, please.
You can have one red velvet cupcake.
All right.
Red velvet, if you're looking to sponsor a podcast.
And
Red velvet, though.
And we can go to the Panamanian coffee shop that is in DC.
Yes, and I can finally have the brown sugar.
Yes,
and
the
coffee.
Cubano. Yeah.
Cubano.
Also, Nido, if you're listening, sponsor Dr. A.
Please
and thank you.
Great. This is the most sponsorship request we've ever had on the episode. As you leave here today, and you look back at your career at Thomas More, other than Mrs. A, which fellow has impacted you the most? That's the tough question that we've been waiting for all day. You get one. You cannot say all of them. You get one. Curveball.
That's a curveball.
Yeah.
It's a great question.
Yeah.
And a very difficult question because they all have impacted me in some way, somehow. Ooh.
I love this diplomatic answer.
Yeah.
Right?
Let's see how these international relations skills.
Oh, you got that? I think the one that has impacted me the most is probably Hannah Haverkus. Every time I see her, she inspires I don't know, she inspires like peace and like you just want to go and hang out with her and talk about her interest. But also, she's a freshman,
Hmm.
and she went with us to everything, and she went like you, and you talk to her and you think she's a senior. She's so mature and so well rounded about any topic you want to talk with her. And being so young, she's bold on her own way.
Yes.
And I respect the fact that whenever she can, she has a conflict or something, she's honest. Like, my apologies, but I can't go.
Yeah.
Me as a freshman, I probably wouldn't have done that. Or
Yeah.
I will try to work around to see if I can make it to
Yeah.
the both places, or and like make everybody feel like um accepted and all this stuff. But she um take cares of her responsibilities so
She sets
well.
boundaries
Yeah,
well.
she has a
Yes.
boundary, and usually when you're a freshman, you just want to get there, and you're like
Hmm.
crazy to like, oh, I need to get that opportunity and this. But she's so centered
Hmm.
that I'm like, I really like, I admire her so much, and she's gonna be great in everything she does. Her tattoo shop also, whenever she opens it, go for her.
Yeah.
She's a great artist. I love her drawings, and she tries everything. Like, she's she might be nervous in one of the innovation or the alumni awards and all these activities, but she still does it. And you see her, she's confident, and she goes right at it, and I love it.
Yes, I agree with everything you have said. The ability to set boundaries, the ability to step forward and be who you are, is an admirable. They are admirable qualities.
Yeah.
So, Sophia, before we leave today,
Mm-hmm.
I just want you to know that I'm extremely proud of you.
Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me to be part of y'all's journey. One thing that I truly appreciate about you, in addition to knowing where you stand on things and being um, passionate about it, is you always show up to events willing to have a conversation. So we have our monthly coffee meetups between the fellows from NKU and Thomas More, and you're always there, willing to have a conversation. I don't care who's there. You want to meet them, have some sort of conversation with them, and that builds community. So thank you
Thank
for
you.
being part of our community. Thank you for everything you do. Mrs. A, do you have any last parting words for Sophia?
Sophia, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
And of course, I cannot wait to see you in DC.
Mm-hmm.
It has just been such a joy working with you the past year and a half or
Yeah.
so. You also were one of the first students that welcomed me to campus, and that made me feel like I belonged as well. And I
Thank you.
truly appreciate that. I'm so excited to see what you do and what you change and all the amazing things you're going to do in this world, because you are just a force, and I'm
Thank you.
so excited for you. I am most excited to go to DC this November.
I know you are. I learned my lesson from my conversation with Erin. I was going to end the conversation, and she's like, Dr. A, I have one more thing to say.
Yeah.
So, Sophia, do you have one more thing to say?
Yes, I do. I want to thank you both for working with me, being my mentors, and always being there. Thank you for being transparent and being honest, and always standing up with me and supporting my ideas, my goals, and saying that's not crazy at all to dream of, and that I'm capable of. I'm really thankful. And for upcoming fellows, embrace this opportunity. You're gonna learn so much. You're gonna change. Like, the person I was in August 2023, so much different from now.
Yep.
And it's thanks to you, like to you too. So thank you, and please embrace it. It's a great program, and you're all gonna learn a lot. So thank you so
Mrs.
much.
A and I have a saying in our household:
Mm-hmm.
dream it,
Yeah.
and then we'll figure out how to make it happen.
I
So
love
all you got to
that.
do is just dream it.
Just dream it.
All right. Thank you all for listening. Mrs. A, do you have something else to say?
So as Sophia was talking, and um, last week when you were with Aaron, I was crying a lot, and that could indicate that this is a goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another thing we say in the house a lot too, and we say to our students, this is a lifelong connection. We are one WhatsApp message away.
Mm-hmm.
WhatsApp, if you want to sponsor this. No, we are literally a message, Instagram message, LinkedIn message, whatever it is. We are, and it goes both ways, right?
Yeah.
So the tears are actually tears of joy and happiness of everything that you have done and have
Thank you.
created and built and have done this past year, and it's just amazing.
Thank you. That's a great place to end this conversation. Thank you all for listening. If you are new here, please make sure to subscribe, leave us a rating, share with us what you loved about this conversation. Next week, so we are ending graduation season at this point, and what we are going to start next week is actually conversations with previous fellows. The series is called Where Are They Now? So these are people that we have had as fellows 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 years ago, and they're ready to come back and tell the story of how to navigate the 20s. The 20s are a difficult time in your life. So why not learn from others? Join us on the next episode of Econ with Dr. A. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you
Have
for
a great
inviting
one.
me.